The smile didn't last long, just a second, but it was enough. Everyone in the lab saw it. The human had opened its eyes and smiled. Not with kindness, not with peace. It was the smile of someone who knew something terrifying. Then the eyes closed again. The body stayed still. But that second changed everything. Varnock didn't sleep that night. He stood near the pod, staring, waiting, afraid. The guards didn't talk anymore. Even the ship's AI only responded in short, cold lines. Something had changed after that smile. The lights in the lab seemed dimmer, the walls colder, like the ship itself was holding its breath. Then came the order from command. Destroy the specimen. The message was clear. Too dangerous. It's unpredictable. No more experiments. No more scans. Terminate the human immediately. Varnock didn't argue. He didn't even hesitate. Just activated the ship's bioweapon chamber and gave the code. The creature they used wasn't ordinary. It was bred in the Empire's darkest labs. A living weapon. Built for speed, strength, and terror. It had claws that could cut through metal. It could kill a full squad of soldiers in 10 seconds, and it loved to kill. The lab was cleared. Only cameras stayed on. The doors to the human's pod slid open. Slowly, the creature stepped inside. 6 legs, 4 eyes. Its body was all bone, armor, and rage. It let out a low growl and moved closer to the human. No fear, no hesitation. The human still didn't move. The creature raised a claw, and then it stopped. It froze mid-step, eyes wide. It let out a strange sound, confused, like a machine trying to scream. Its body began to shake violently. It clawed at its own chest. Then its head stumbled back, crashing into the wall. Blood sprayed across the lab. It wasn't fighting something it could see. It was fighting something in its mind. The human never moved. The weapon screamed and collapsed, twisting unnaturally. Bones cracked, flesh split. In less than 10 seconds, the creature was dead, torn apart from the inside. Silence returned. Varnock stared at the screen, his heart pounding. What did it do? One tech whispered. We sent in a monster, another replied. But what it faced was worse. Varnock turned back to the human. Its eyes were still closed. The pod sealed itself again. Not through orders. It's not by anyone's hand. The system just obeyed. Someone in the room whispered. He didn't fight. He didn't move. Just made it stop. A young psychic researcher entered the lab, called in from the outer decks. She was small, quiet, and barely noticed as she stepped up to the glass. She placed her hand on the pod and closed her eyes. Then she gasped. Her body stiffened. Her voice shook as she spoke. He isn't fighting. He isn't defending. This is something deeper. Older. It's not power. It's memory. It's truth. What truth? Varnock asked. She turned, tears in her eyes. He remembers a galaxy where humans were gods of war. He remembers what they became to survive. What they lost. They gave up. The others watched in silence. Then the girl said one final thing. He doesn't hate us. Not yet. But he remembers why he should. Just then alarms went off. A new signal was coming in. A ship, Empire class, fully armed, heading straight toward them. Varnock checked the ID. No, it's not a ship. The tech turned to him. What is it then? Varnock whispered. It's a grave. They opened the feed. And there, floating toward them, was a destroyed war cruiser, drifting, hollow, its metal torn like paper. Written across its side in deep burns were words no one wanted to read out loud. We tried to kill him. We failed. And the human. He smiled again, eyes still closed, like he was waiting for someone. Or something. To finally remember him? Asked ChatGPT. The destroyed war cruiser floated beside them, silent and broken. Varnock stared at it through the viewing screen. His hands trembled. No life signs. No escape pods. Not even black box data. Just wreckage. Without a signal. Without a signal. Without. Warning, like a ghost from a forgotten battle. The ship's hull was torn from the inside. No known weapon left those patterns. The burn marks across the metal were deep and precise, as if someone or something had carved it apart, piece by piece. But the words burned into the side said everything. We tried to kill him. We failed. Who wrote it? No one on the ship knew. One technician asked, "Should we report this to High Command?" Varnock didn't answer. He couldn't. His eyes kept returning to the pod where the human lay, still unmoving, still breathing softly. As if none of this was a surprise, the psychic girl from before sat nearby. She stared at the human without fear. Without blinking, "He didn't destroy that cruiser," she said quietly. "He remembered how to." The rest of the lab said nothing. They needed answers, real answers. Where did this creature come from? How did it do what it did? Of all, how many more were like him? Varnock gave the order. Trace the origin. Find the planet this thing came from. The ship's AI began scanning galactic records, species tags, DNA logs, military databases. At first, everything was normal. But then, the system started to glitch. Maps blurred. Coordinates shifted. Entire star charts turned to static. Files vanished mid-search. One system crashed completely. Another reported false stars, stars that didn't exist. "It's like something is hiding the truth," said the lead navigator. The AI spoke again, its voice lower than usual. "Origin error. No verified homeworld. Traces lead to multiple dead systems." "Dead systems," Varnock repeated. The AI showed what it found. A list of locations where human DNA had once been detected, all marked as destroyed, uninhabitable, or worse, erased. The images came next. Scorched planets, cracked moons, graveyard skies. In each place, wreckage floated, sometimes metal, sometimes bone. Ships with human shapes, old, advanced, long forgotten. Some held messages. Others just floated in silence. One satellite drifted near a black hole. It activated when scanned. A voice played. Human voice. "Calm, deep. You're looking for where we came from," it said. "But it's not about where we started. It's about where we ended. We are the memory your empire tried to delete." Then silence. Varnock sat down slowly. The truth was becoming clear. This human wasn't just a survivor. He was something older. Something that had watched the stars die and kept walking. And now, he was waking up. The AI showed one last location. A planet once known as Earth. Its sun was gone. The orbit was broken. But something still floated in the darkness there. A signal. "Play it," Varnock said. A video appeared. A battlefield. Silent. Empty. Then a figure walked into view. A human. It wasn't the one in their lab, but he looked similar. Older. Tired but proud. He faced the camera and said, "If you're seeing this, then you found one of us. You think we're weak? That's your first mistake. We don't need weapons. We are the weapon. If one of us survives, we all remember." The video ended. The screens went black. Everyone turned to the pod. The human was awake. NoEyesOpen.com. Watching, Varnock tried to speak. But the words died in his throat. The human said nothing. He simply sat. Up. No alarms. No warning. Just movement. Smooth. Quiet. The containment pod. Opened by itself, not with force. With permission. As if the ship no longer served the aliens, but him. And then came the voice. But it didn't come from the human. It came from the ship's main systems. A message. Origin located. Memory lock broken. Human status restored. And on the deepest level of the ship's code, something was written. In Earth language, a phrase no alien had ever typed. "We remember everything. Now the galaxy would too." The human sat calmly at the edge of the open pod. No chains held him. No guards surrounded him now. The containment field was gone. The doors were unlocked, but no one moved. Not even Varnock. Everyone in the lab stood frozen, staring at the creature. They once mocked. The human looked ordinary. No weapons, no armor. Just a man sitting quietly awake. But the fear in the room was loud. The lights above flickered, even though there was no power issue. The air tasted strange, like metal and static. A soft hum began to fill the room. but no machine was making it. It came from everywhere and nowhere. Then the human moved, just a single finger, and the entire ship felt it. The lights dimmed. The AI paused. For a full 2 seconds, the engine slowed without reason. Gravity shifted slightly. One of the guards gasped and fell to his knees, his eyes rolling back. He wasn't injured. He was seeing something. "Talk to me," shouted Varnock, running to the fallen guard. "What did you see?" The guard didn't answer at first. He opened his eyes slowly. Tears streamed down his cheeks. "He showed me. A planet," he whispered. "A place made of stone and fire. It wasn't destroyed. It was built for war. Earth wasn't home. It was training." Varnock looked back at the human, who was now standing. His movement was smooth, quiet. He didn't speak. He just walked past consoles, past scientists, past the weapons aimed at him. No one pulled the trigger. No one even raised a hand, because they all felt it now. The ship didn't belong to them anymore. The AI's voice came back online. It had changed. No longer cold and artificial, it sounded. Respectful, almost afraid. "System access transferred," it said. Varno caved. "To who?" "New command recognized," the AI replied. "Unit, human." The human touched one of the consoles. Instantly, data flowed across every screen. Not alien files, human records, history, wars, victories, losses, strategies from thousands of battles, across time and stars. The scientists watched in awe as the screens filled with old languages, codes they couldn't read. And then they saw something worse. Images of creatures. Human-made things. Machines with minds. Weapons that breathed. Ships that moved like animals. And thought like gods. One technician whispered, "They built monsters, and then they unbuilt them." The psychic girl stepped forward, eyes wide. "He's not the only one," she said. "There were more. Maybe still are. And they're not sleeping anymore." A distant alarm sounded across the ship. An incoming fleet, Empire class. Warships, hundreds of them. They were closing in fast. One of the guards panicked. "We have to run. We have to escape." "There is no escape," the AI said calmly. "Chain is already broken." The human turned to the group. For the first time, he spoke clearly, voice steady and full of something old. Not hate, not rage, but memory. "You scanned me," he said. "You thought I was alone. You were wrong. I am never alone." He stepped into the center of the lab. Around him, the metal began to shift. The floor plates changed shape. The walls bent, adjusted, responded. The ship was changing, alive. VAR and OK backed away. "What's happening to the vessel?" the AI answered. "The human remembers its design. It listens now. To him." One by one, screens displayed a single message. Chains broken. Lock removed. System awake. From outside the windows, the stars looked different. The fleet was almost here, their weapons already armed, but the humans simply stared at them. Right. Calm as always. One final screen lit up with his words. "You brought war to our bones." Our bones remember. Without touching a button, without giving a single spoken command. The ship roared, not like metal, but like something alive, and deep in the engine core. Something very old opened its eyes for the first time in 1,000 years. The chains were broken, and the war was about to begin. Again. The golden shield around the Sentinel shimmered like a living sunrise. Beyond it, alien ships drifted powerless, caught in its quiet grip. Inside the great machine, Commander Hale stood at the glowing pedestal. The hum of the Sentinel was stronger. Now, deep and steady, like the heartbeat of a planet, Captain Ward joined him. "So," Ward said slowly, "you just told the whole galaxy where we are." "Yes," Hal replied. "Now we wait." Far away, in the cold edge of the solar system, the answer began to come. Sensors on the Sentinel lit up. A ripple of strange energy swept through space. Something was moving huge, fast, silent. Ward's earpiece crackled. The pilot's voice was tense. "Sir, we have multiple inbound contacts. Not the same as the aliens we've been fighting." "How many?" Ward asked. "Too many to count." Hale's face was unreadable. "They heard us." Vega frowned. "They friends?" Hale didn't answer. In Geneva, Prime Minister Graves stood in her war room. Her generals watched as new objects entered the edge of the solar system. Their shapes were unlike anything seen before, vast arcs of metal, bristling with unknown structures. One general whispered, "They're bigger than anything in the alien fleet." Graves gripped the table. "Get me a link to Ward now." Call came through. "Ward," Graves said, "we're detecting something new. They're coming fast." "We see them," Ward replied. He glanced at Hale. "Are these your Sentinels makers?" Hale nodded slightly. "Maybe, or what's left of them." Minutes passed. Strange ships drew closer, slipping into the system like shadows over ice. The alien fleet still trapped. Outside, the shield began to move again, struggling to reactivate their ships. Then, without warning, one of the new arrivals fired. A beam of white light sliced across space, striking an alien cruiser. The ship folded inward, crumpling silently like paper, before vanishing in a burst of cold flame. Ward's soldiers cheered. "They're helping us," Vega shouted. But Hale didn't celebrate. "They're not here for us. They're here for the Sentinel." On the Sentinel's surface, panels shifted again. The golden shield shimmered and thickened, as if sensing the new arrivals. Ward turned to Hale. "You're saying these things could be just as dangerous as the aliens?" "Worse," Hale said softly, "because they built this. And they will take it back, no matter who stands in their way." In the distance, more beams of light lanced out from the newcomers, tearing into the alien fleet. The aliens fought back, but their weapons sputtered uselessly against the newcomers' strange defenses. It wasn't a battle, it was a slaughter in Geneva. Graves watched the feed with a mix of relief and fear. Her aide whispered, "There, wiping them out. The aliens never stood a chance." "Yes," Graves said quietly, "and once they're done, they'll look at us." Back aboard the Sentinel, the pedestal suddenly shifted. The device Hale had placed began to glow so brightly. It hurt to look at. Symbols scrolled rapidly across the walls, faster and faster. Vega shielded her eyes. "What's it saying?" Hale's voice was grim. "It's asking me to step away. They want to interface directly. Don't," Ward warned. "We don't know what they'll do." Hale looked at him. "If I don't, they might see us." As thieves, the floor beneath them vibrated harder now. The hum of the Sentinel turned into a low roar. Outside, one of the giant newcomer ships broke formation. It approached the Sentinel slowly, like a predator circling prey. Its surface shifted, revealing a great black maw of machine Iran, opening large enough to swallow the transport hole. Ward's stomach tightened. "They're coming to dock." "Graves." The voice came over the come again. "Ward, listen to me carefully. We don't know if these newcomers are saviors or executioners. Be ready for both." Ward's reply was short. "Understood." But the docking began. Massive metal arms reached out. From the newcomer's ship, locking onto the Sentinel's outer ring, a deep clang echoed through the great machine. Then came the voice. It wasn't sound in the usual sense. It was in their minds, deep, resonant, ancient. It spoke in images more than words. Stars being born, worlds defended. Wars fought in silence. And then, loss. The voice was tired, old, but it was not weak. Ward gripped his head. "What the hell was that?" Hale straightened slowly. "They're talking to us, asking if we are guardians or invaders." The newcomers waited for an answer. Golden Shield held. The alien fleet was gone. But if Hale answered wrong, humanity might follow them into the dark. The voice in their minds still echoed. It was not angry. It was not kind. It was measuring them. Captain Ward paced the glowing chamber inside the Sentinel. "Guardians or invaders," he muttered. "That's the choice." Commander Hale stood at the pedestal, staring at the device. He had placed there. Its glow pulsed slowly like it was breathing. Vega shifted uncomfortably. And if they decide we're invaders, Hale didn't look at her. Then Earth becomes just another dead world in their history. Outside the Sentinel, the colossal newcomer ship, clung to the docking ring like a living mountain. The alien craft from before were gone, destroyed, or scattered. The solar system was quiet, but it was the kind of quiet that comes before a storm. In Geneva, Prime Minister Graves stood before a wall of screens. Her generals argued in low voices. One finally said, "Madam Prime Minister, we must prepare Earth's defenses. These newcomers could turn on us at any moment." Graves stared at the largest screen and image of the newcomer fleet holding position around the Sentinel. "They're already inside our walls," she said. "Couldn't stop them even if we tried." Back in the Sentinel, Hale finally spoke. "They want proof." Ward frowned. "Proof of what?" "That humanity understands what the Sentinel is, what it's for, so that we will protect it, even at the cost of our own lives." Vega gave a bitter laugh. "They want us to promise to die for their machine?" Hale's voice was calm. "They want to know if we are willing to defend more than just ourselves." Ward glanced at the glowing walls. Symbols were moving again, slower now, like a tide going out. "What happens if we just say yes?" Ward asked. Hale shook his head. "They'll know if we lie." "This is not just words. They can see into our thoughts." Vega shivered. "Then what if they see everything? All our wars, all our mistakes?" "They will," Hale said. "Way, and they will decide if we are worth the risk." The voice returned stronger. This time, images burst into their minds. 1,000 alien civilizations, some thriving, some turned to ash. The Sentinel standing guard above worlds of green and blue. The same Sentinel burning under enemy fire in distant space. And always, always, the choice: guardians or invaders. Ward clenched his fists. "How do we convince them?" Hale looked at him steadily. "By showing them we will not abandon the fight." "What fight?" Vega asked. Hale's eyes darkened.
"The one that—"
Coming. The floor beneath them trembled. Ward thought it was just the Sentinel, but then he heard the pilot's voice over comms. "Captain, we've got movement. Something's coming out of deep space. Big." On the Sentinel's outer cameras, a dark shape emerged. It wasn't like the sleek alien ships or the massive newcomers. It was jagged, broken, and alive in a wrong way. It moved like it was tearing holes in space itself. Hale's voice was grim. "That's why they built the Sentinels. That's why they're here." Ward stared at the growing shadow. "What is it?" "It howls," said one word. "The enemy." The newcomers outside shifted their formation instantly. The great docking ship released the Sentinel and turned toward the darkness. More of the giant vessels moved to join it, weapons glowing faintly. But they didn't attack yet. They were waiting. The voice came again. Sharper now. It was no longer asking. It was commanding. "Stand with us, whore. Stand aside." Ward looked at Hale. "This is it, isn't it?" Hale nodded. "But if we stand aside, they will protect the Sentinel, but leave us to our fate. If we stand with them, we go to war," Ward finished. Vega crossed her arms. "And if we lose?" Hale's tone was cold. "Then Earth burns. But the Sentinel will live." Ward thought of the cities below, of people who didn't even know what was unfolding above their skies. He thought of the first time he'd seen the alien fleet, the helplessness he'd felt. Made his choice, Ward stepped to the pedestal and placed his hand on it. The glow surged under his palm. "I am Captain Daniel Ward of Earth. We will stand with you. We will fight." The light around him expanded, wrapping the whole chamber in. Gold in their minds, the voice spoke again, calmer now. "Then you are guardians." Symbols raced across the walls, faster and faster. The Sentinel's towers outside began to shift again, revealing vast weapons. Energy built around them, forming a halo of power. In Geneva, the defense screens went white. With light, text shouted in confusion. The Prime Minister whispered, "God help us. Just join their war." The newcomer fleet turned as one, aligning with the Sentinel. The dark enemy ship kept coming, larger now, its shadows spilling across space. Ward stood in the glow. Lay looked at him and said quietly, There's no going back now. Far out in the void, the enemy opened its eyes, and the war began.